back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So it looks like the Indian dream is coming to an end, and it looks like it's going to be sooner rather than later. I really don't even want to leave, but we got to get the wheels in motion for the next fucking phase. So my wife's going to get her Australian citizenship. She's eligible. She's been eligible for like fucking 6 years or whatever. But we were looking it up today. If we don't leave India, well, if my wife isn't back in Australia before February 15, she won't be able to even apply for a citizenship until 2024. Because the citizenship rules are, you're not allowed to have been out of the country for more than 3 months in 1 year, and you're not allowed to have been out of the country for more than a year in 4 years. So after February 15, it's like a 2-year wait to even fucking apply for citizenship. Then it's like a 6-month process to get it. Then once you've got your citizenship, you've still got to organize all the shit you need to move to another country. The citizenship move is just to move to another country. There's always going to be Australia and there's always going to be India. So it would be nice to live somewhere else for a little while. You know what I mean? So if we get in before February 15, then she can apply for her citizenship at the end of 2022, which is what we thought it was going to be anyway. But we were fucking around with the dates today. And it turns out if she got back to Australia last week, she could have applied for her citizenship immediately. But we didn't know that because my wife didn't fucking punch in the right dates when she was fucking around with it. And now it's cost us a year. Don't worry, I let her know about it. I let her know I was a little bit upset about that. So it looks like the fucking Boyle is returning home. I am going to have to get my affairs in order quick smart. I don't really want to leave India, but I think it might be time. There's not much going on here at the moment. Everything's fucking either locked down or there's curfews. There's no real fucking gigs going on. I can't go to Mount Everest because my fucking lung collapsed. I'm not even meant to be flying till the 23rd of February, but I'm going to have to fucking roll the dice on the old lung. I'm already missing India, to be honest with you. I feel very at home here. Are you surprised? Are you surprised I feel at home living like a god? I've been living like an English colonizer from the 1780s for the last 9 months. I have become accustomed to this way of living. And back to Australia. Fuck. And I think it's going to be Sydney and not Melbourne this time. I don't think my wife can handle another fucking year in Melbourne. She hasn't got it in her. The fucking lockdowns broke her. And I'm not overly excited about Sydney either. I just wish I did a couple of things before I left here. I wish I did my fucking solo show. I put a lot of fucking hours into writing that show that never saw the light of day. I wish I did the fucking show I was meant to do last weekend that got fucking cancelled. At least I'd have some fucking footage of me doing stand-up comedy in India. And I also wanted to scale Mount Everest. It looks like I'm going to have to come back and do all that shit. Oh my God, it's just fucking starting to sink in. I did even try this. I tried the old, why don't you go back first? You get back so the clock starts ticking on the fucking citizenship thing. You go sort out a fucking place to live, the school and shit for the kids. You go back and organize it, and then like in 2 or 3 months when you've got that all sorted, me and the kids will come. I'll just stay here with your parents for a couple of months and you figure it out. She wasn't that receptive, which is strange. It means we're very different people because if that was me, I would have been, see you later. I'm flying out tomorrow. I'll catch you in a few months. See you later. See you kids. Bye. So yeah, that's not even like possibly happening. That is happening. That's going to be happening now. Well, 100% my wife has to get back before the 15th. We'll just see how I'm going. I might have to leave a few weeks after. So that's the latest update. Everything's going to be changing very quickly. Anyway, it's Monday and it is Ask Boyle time. So if any of you have questions about things you fucking want answered or are pondering over, any hypotheticals, just send your questions through to boylecomedy@gmail.com or just hit me up on the Patreon. Anyway, this week's question was sent in by fucking Matt Coit. fucking old Coity out there in the UK sent me like a fucking 9-page email with an Ask Boyle at the end. So Coity's question is this. A UK mate I have who's just had his first kid moved to Melbourne at the start of the year. My Ask Boyle is, what does a male moving to Oz need to do to fit in with other Aussie males? What appropriate behaviour, culture, language do you think he should adopt? Well, Coity, you have come to the right place. What the fuck was your friend thinking? Moving to Melbourne at the start of this year? Has he not read the news about Australia in the last 12 months? It's been perpetual fucking lockdowns. What was he thinking? If he's moved to Melbourne, all he needs to do is complain about Dan Andrews, the Premier of Melbourne. He's probably already worked that out. Just complain about that cunt because it's a win-win situation. Like, half the people are going to agree with you and think he's a cunt as well. And the other half that disagree with you are just going to be like meek, like beta male, weak cunts. And you can just slap the fuck out of them anyway. Nah, Melbourne's a little bit different to most other places in Australia. Melbourne is like, it's very progressive. Well, like 3 areas in Melbourne are progressive because if you leave those 3 areas, which are like Brunswick, Fitzroy, and Collingwood, it's a fucking different world out there. Those areas are like vegan, hipsters. Are hipsters still a thing or did they die like emos? What's the new version of hipster or are they still hipsters? I don't know. But you know what I'm talking about. That's that sort of crew around that area. But honestly, like 2 kilometers from those places, which is like basically the city, in any direction, then it just becomes like fucking Wolf Creek. But if he's living in Melbourne, the first thing you do is just choose a footy team. Don't go for anyone at the top of the ladder. Go for someone in the bottom half of the ladder. They'll respect it more. It's like the Indians here, like about 10, 12 years ago, whenever it fucking was, soccer became big and everyone in India goes for Man United. There's no other team Indians support. It's just Man U. Choose an AFL team. I'm talking about AFL here. Choose a team, watch a few games, learn the rules, because really that's all anyone ever talks about in Melbourne. During winter, you'll be hard-pressed getting a conversation out of anyone that doesn't revolve around football. Complain about the weather. You always got to complain about the weather. This is a classic line. Just say to someone, it's like it's 4 seasons in one day. That will always get like a appreciative head nod. These are all the conversations you'll have to avoid talking about anything like deep. This is all the surface shit you bring up to people to avoid your real innermost feelings. So the weather, that's huge. You got to fucking complain about the weather. What else do people in Melbourne talk about? I think that's it. I think we just talk about footy and the weather, just 24/7. Behavior-wise, look, pretty much anything goes. But you got to remember, Australians generally like the Irish, the Welsh, and the Scottish more than the English. So just keep that in mind. Something to remember when you get a little bit drunk and a little bit lippy. And culturally, there's nothing to be said culturally. There is no culture in Australia. There's no such thing. Unless you call footy and the weather culture, there's nothing to be said about Australian culture. Is getting as drunk as humanly possible a culture? Because if it is, then Australia does have a very strong culture. I honestly think that covers it all. First of all, just complain about Dan Andrews. You'll feel out what the other person you're talking to is like, whether he's a cunt or not. Then once you've established who you're speaking to, just ask the other person's footy team who they go for. Then talk about your team and their chances this year. And then after that, talk about the weather. Obviously, you got to bring up the weather. Say this to them. This butters up any fucking Melbourneite. This will work without fail. Just go, fuck. The weather is fucking crazy here. It's the craziest weather I've ever seen. It's like 4 seasons in one day. They fucking love it. And I'm not immune to it either. If a Spanish guy came up to me and said 4 seasons in one day, I might fucking blow him. Anyway, I hope I answered your question, Coity. That'll do for tonight. If you're enjoying the podcast, just share it around with other cunts. And I'll see you the fuck later.